what's up with it? Do it cause I love it and I stuck with it. We ain't with the subbing in the cut with it. Please, none of the talks, I heard enough of it. Like, what you gonna do? Where you at? Who you with? You ain't really about this, don't talk about it. Really on the move, on the map, never slip. Keep your hands to your lips, don't talk about it. Real eyes, real lies all the time. Stand on it, if we said it, we don't walk around it. Loose lips, sink ships, red cup, blue strips, new phone, who this? No, we don't allow it. Really on go, I don't know what's an off day. Now we on road, came from smoking in the hallway. Now we got shows, boys feeling like Broadway. Always look both ways, even on a crossway. Driving down Cross Bay, out town Barclays. Really on big tanks, came up a small way. Championship rings, baby, that's a ball game. Oh, she want a little bag, baby, that's small change. Yeah, that money talk. If we ain't cool, then cut me off. No breaking news, don't run your mouth. Thought it was the plug, now he running off. Thought it was a plug, now he running off. What you gonna do? Where you at? Who you with? You ain't really about this, don't talk about it.
Hey guys, welcome to 5F's to Love Network. Tonight is Real Talk with the men. We're gonna have a very, not intense conversation, but hopefully a conversation that would be enlightening to you. Right now, 29.4% of African American men are getting some sort of professional help or support for their mental health. Now, if you compare that to the 46.2% of non-Hispanic white men, then that's a low number. Because when you think about the impact of an African American man and what he goes through every day, think about if you had to walk around in something that dictates to people who they think you are just by the color of your skin. That's the only thing. This week, I watched something on Facebook where a young man was sitting in a suburban neighborhood and they called the police on him just because he was an African-American man. He was very articulate, very well-spoken, and he asked the police officer, "Why are you here talking to me? What did I do? Did I do anything wrong?" And he said, "People made phone calls of a suspicious person in the neighborhood." He says, "Obviously, I'm not a suspicious person. I'm just sitting here minding my own business." Folks, this is a real conversation around Black men and their journey to healing and self-love. So let's get started. Okay, first, Ward, I got to bring you in first because one, we've been missing you. Like, dude, you've been like on the road doing your thing as a comedian. So I hope you bring some of that flair to us tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I hope so, because it would be interesting if you didn't. You guys know Michigan hometown. What's going on, RJ?
Hello, Christine. What's good? What's good?
I cannot wait to hear what you have to say. It's going to be interesting. And next to Ish, I don't know, Ish, I feel like you're getting ready to throw on that professor hat. You look all official. By the way, Ish, you look kind of hot in that vest and everything tonight.
Oh, thank you.
I like that look.
I kind of like the doctor have all the fun.
I see. So you don't want Doctor have all the fun. When you look, you guys know it wouldn't be Real Talk with Men if Matt's not on, because Matt's getting ready to bring the music.
Thank you.
I'm always like excited to hear what you're gonna say, but I'm always like, oh my God, what is Matt gonna say? Always. Right. And Matt, as always, where is Waldo? I always go, where is Matt? Matt, where are you at today?
Yeah, so tonight we're in Mobile, Alabama, part of Carnival. Fat Tuesday is next Tuesday, so it's New Orleans and Mobile for the next week or so.
I love it. I love it. I wish I was there. And you guys know it's Dr. Campbell.
Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? What's up? So I'm in Jamaica actually visiting my mom, and so nice. I'm trying to, hopefully this Wi-Fi connection doesn't patch out on us, but it's a cool vibe. See, I'm looking all relaxed in my t-shirt.
You are.
Chilling out. Yeah.
I'm glad you were able to tune in from Jamaica. I wish I was there. I could use a vacation. And our surprise guest is Gerald from 60 is the New 40 Friday podcast. Gerald, welcome to Real Talk with the Men.
Hey there, guys.
What up, Gerald?
Hey, what's going on?
There he is.
What an honor, guys. Thanks for having me.
This is going to be an interesting conversation. And before we get started, we're going to go to our first quick commercial break. And when we get back, you guys know I'm going in. So, of course, if you need a drink, this is going to be a conversation. You might want to grab it now while we're going to this quick commercial break. We'll be right back, guys.
My name is Christine Burkett, the inventor of the 5 F's to Love. This is a compatibility app. It's an app that gives you an opportunity to rate words that start with the letter F in chronological order of importance to you. to help you find your one true love, your soulmate, and the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So after you've taken the time to rate your F's in chronological order, you send a link to the person, I don't know, you just met, or the person you've been dating for quite some time. Or maybe it's the person you've been married to for 30 to 40 to 50 years. And then you compare your top 5 F's to find out what things you have in common and things that you may perhaps need to work on. This is taking a simplistic perspective on how to find your one true love, your soulmate, the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. And thank you for downloading the 5Fs app.
Okay, guys, we're going to get right into this conversation. Welcome back to the 5Fs to Love Network. And tonight we have Real Talk with the Men. I know you guys are kind of confused if you're watching, going, what is Gerald doing here? And where is the other Campbell brother? And where is Galen? Like, you guys are going through. Galen is out sick. The other Campbell brother's out sick. And Gerald is here just hanging out with the guys. I know this is not 60s to new 40, but he couldn't wait. He wanted to come hang out with the fellas. So here's Gerald. Okay, guys. I'm going in because this is one of the things I've raised my son, but you never stop raising your kids, right? My son is 6'3". He's a linebacker. And one of the biggest things I always have to tell him is when you go outside of city limits, I need you not to do certain things. I'm afraid every time, right? Because it concerns me. So my first question to you is, what do you think when a person says angry black man? What are your thoughts when you hear that? Angry black man.
Yeah, so Christine, there's a language out there that black men face each and every day. Angry black man, criminal, thug. There's all kind of language, and that plays a part into how we live our lives and how other people interact with us. So all those languages are all those words and things that people get off the internet and off TV. So in a lot of ways, the culture wars are culture wars against black males. And for the last 400 years, it's been that way.
Right. It's a grossly inaccurate stereotype that's been placed on us for so many years, right? And, it's offensive, but we'd have to be better and understand that we are not that, and that's not who we truly are, unfortunately. But the world sees us differently, and it's just a battle we're going to always fight, and it's the reality of what it is.
Okay. Ward?
Yeah, I just feel like we're not angry black men. We've been through so much, you know what I'm saying? And just people like RJ said, they just label us as angry black men. But we're not. We enjoy life. We're happy.
Okay, Gerald.
And what's amazing about that is it doesn't matter what level you go to as far as your life and your career, you're still going to be labeled that, which is unfortunate. It doesn't matter, what stature you have, what neighborhood you live in, what car you drive, you're always going to be looked at as that angry black man. But I think it's just because you're threatened. That's a whole nother story. I just think they're threatened simply because, we are doing well. We do accomplish, if you give a black man a project, trust me, he's going to do well in that project. And people already know that. But then you're going to be labeled as an angry black man because you do things different. Our culture's different. We do things differently. That's all.
All right, that's very interesting. And I really like all of your responses. I don't think the whole concept behind angry black man is startling to me that people can make that assumption just based on a skin. Not you haven't said or done anything, it's just based on the skin. So that I like your responses. So when you see the news pop up and another black man is killed, how does that impact you as a black man? What do you feel like?
Well, for me,
go ahead, Ish. Go ahead.
I've noticed a lot of these videos that black folks take when they encounter a Karen, for example, and to me, they seem to be more obsequious than I would be. I mean, I am angry. I think black men have a reason to be angry. So when I've encountered those Karens, I'm a little bit more aggressive than those folks. And I'm not saying to everybody, but I don't play the servile black man when someone's trying to impede my progress. I bring the heat. And that's just how I take the Malcolm X approach in that respect. I mean, I'm professional, I'm poised, but I make sure they know I'm coming with a level of aggression, so they know that I'm not the one to mess with.
Okay.
And I think, you know, to tag on with what it says, it's not just the Karens of the world, it's an everyday microaggression. So typically you're labeled an angry black man after something is done. It's never the start of a conversation. It is always after someone does something that requires a response, and whatever response you give, if you're defending yourself in any way, shape, or form against the assault, you're labeled an angry black man. And so you have two choices. You can either accept the label of angry black man, or you'll internalize it and have high blood pressure and all the other problems that we face.
Make them feel the heat.
Okay. So what do you?
Okay,
What
I
is
was
your-
going to say, there's a saying I have is I'm tired of being your firewood to keep you warm. You know, I'm sick and tired of always having to be that firewood for you. So you guys continue to burn me all the time. You know, I'm tired of that heat. You know, so when we do come out of that in that heat, then you're going to look at us as an angry black man. But you need to realize all the things you've done, all the things that's happened to us. You know, so.
Yeah.
So do you guys, I just quick question. Do you guys ever relate the black men being killed today to lynching? Do
It's
you align those two things or you don't?
I consider it modern day lynching. I mean, that's just really, we see it so frequently and so often. And for me, you know, being a father of a biracial son, you know, I have to have these difficult conversations with him at a young age to let him know that these are things he's going to be faced with and how to act and react in certain situations. And it's unfortunate that we have to do that, but that's just, you look at how often these things happen, how consistent they happen every other week. We're hearing about it, and think about the ones we don't hear about, right? That aren't captured on camera or video. So just imagine the multitude and the volume of these things happening. And so, yes, we do get angry. We do get offended. We do get furious, but then we also operate in a world with a level of fear because we all get anxiety whenever the police get behind us when you're driving. Let's just be clear. Right. And then we live in great neighborhoods, don't have a criminal past or criminal record, no warrants, but it's just the reality of the way the world has been for so many years. What's going to happen if they pull me over? You know what I mean? And it's an unfortunate truth we live in every day. So when you get these Karens, and now we call them Chads, who continue to poke the bear and we react in a certain way, well, what did you expect to happen?
So my question to you guys, all of you guys are educated. Did you think that getting education would change the dynamics of that thought or how people thought of you as an individual? Did you think your education would change that profile is what I'm asking.
I honestly thought that was going to happen. I thought the education, I thought the house I lived in, I thought the car I drive, I thought all those things were going to change it. I thought the suit I wear every day to work was going to change it. I mean, I've had people say the worst things to me in my suit. You know,
okay.
I'm sitting up there, the vice president of the bank, and the guy asked me if I was the security guard. You know, I'm sitting there like, are you kidding me right now? Really? You know, so
what about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a fact of life. You know, I'm sitting here last night in New Orleans at a black tie event, and we all leave together. You know, and the group of people I'm with are literally the highlight of the show. And at the end, one of the guests comes up and goes, "Hey, thank you all." And we're like, "Thank you all." Yeah, thank you for the support, the food, the water, all the service was great. I said, you know what? Only in America. Only in America. So you never have a moment where you don't feel that oppression, except when you travel. And I would like to that's probably the only time in America where you'll see it is if you travel or if you're actually in your work setting where you have a label, a title, and that title overrides for a brief moment your blackness.
Wow.
I don't know. So I'm listening to I didn't catch the first or the original question, but I was hearing some of the responses. So I'm catching on a little bit, and it's interesting. I think we are educated to behave a certain way, and this is my issue with education and my issue with us getting disciplines. Right, we're being disciplined right? Whether it's chemistry or physics, you're learning a discipline. You're learning to think a certain way. We're learning to act a certain way. And whoever is creating these systems of education, they're creating it in an attempt for us to follow suit, for us to control. And those of us who define or decide to go against the grain, then we're considered the renegades of the group. We're considered, you don't want to be him or her because he's not educated or she's not educated. And so we're all aspiring to be educated as if education will make us closer to being treated like them. And I think that's where we go wrong. And that's where they have indoctrinated us the wrong way, because education will never get us there. I mean, we've all gone through this. We've seen it. We've experienced it. Yeah. And it still continues to happen, no matter how far we climb in the ladder, right? People will still look at us as, oh, the black one, or, oh, he's that guy. And I'm like, when will this ever end? So now I don't even fight to contend or fight to go against it. I walk in and I'm just me, whether you like me or not. And I don't care if you think or not think, because I'm not going to live in this sort of sphere that you're defining for me, in this educational sphere. And so again, I used to walk in and say, well, why not treat me as an equal? But now my mindset has changed, because I am not just an equal. In my mind, I am more. I am damn more. Mentally, when I walk in the boardroom now, right, I think my confidence is so far ahead that it forces a presence in the room before I even get there. No matter what you want to think about me, you're going to feel my presence. You're going to hear what I have to say, whether you like it or not. And then even if you dislike it, it's going to stick with you. It's going to be in your head. You're going to sleep with it. And you know what? That's why they say, let's watch him. We got to watch him, because he's a dangerous one. He's one that is doing something that we don't like, because he's causing disruption. And whatever path he's on, it's uncharacteristic, it's undefined. And why is he doing this? Let's not let everyone else begin to think this way, because this could be dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Campbell, you make a great point, because I think as African Americans, our parents didn't go to college. A lot of them didn't. So they really, really pushed us like, you got to go, you got to go, you got to go, you got to go. Because to them, that was the difference to being accepted, was that if you were educated, more doors would open for you. But what they didn't realize was the more of us that went and got educated, there were other things that they put in the way from us being progressive in certain spaces. So guys, I'm going to tell you, just like I thought, you guys are always moving me in these conversations we're having. When we get back, we're going to talk about how men can work on healing themselves when you are constantly faced with a lot of negative energy coming your way. May it be from your work, external, or home. We're going to talk about how you guys figure it out and still maintain who you are, amazing Black men. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
Out my mind, give me some directions to get to you. Ain't gonna waste my time. I know that we got connection. I think about you. You're on my mind, on my mind, on my mind. Yeah, I'm going out of my mind, out of my mind, out of my mind. Yeah. tell me what to do, what to do. I'm on my knees, yeah, I am begging you, begging you. I'll break the rules if it will get me to, yeah.
Welcome back to the 5 F's to Love, Real Talk with the Men. If you're just joining us, we're having a real conversation about men's health and self-love. I think, you know, that whole thing about Black men and y'all always so macho and all of that, that's hot. I'm going to give you that as a woman, that is hot. But also know, because I date Black men almost exclusively, you guys need a lot of love. You need some hugs. You need some reassuring, and you need to know that you are like really big in the space that you're in. And I think a lot of times that's where we kind of fall short as women. We just see you as this Black man who seems to have it all under control. And we don't know sometimes just to give you a hug and just say, I love you, right? Because sometimes that home love can battle anything that's going on outside of the home. So folks, we're in segment number 2. How do you support one another? The question I have for you guys is, do you have a group of close male friends that you hang out with? Like, how many of you guys have close male friends that you hang out with?
Yeah, I do. I have it's about 5 or 6 of us, and we just hang out. We talk about a lot of things. But I think dealing with stuff like that is just laughter. You have to be able to laugh, overcome stuff. But we've been taught to be strong, be hard all our life, and we just don't let that show, you know. But sometimes you do. You just need a hug and a kiss, you know. It's like everything's gonna be all right.
This is a very good topic, right? So let's talk about Black men for a second. Most of us in our age group and up were raised to be tough, to be strong, to not show emotion, to not show weakness, to just figure it out, to not communicate. We were not taught how to effectively communicate our thoughts and our feelings. And so being raised that way, the way you're raised as a child, that is a reflection of the man you becoming as an adult. Mm-hmm. And then you wonder why some of the relationships you've had along your life didn't work out. Or women say, well, you're not very communicative. You don't express your emotions and da, 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 da. And it really takes you to have self-reflection, self-awareness to heal yourself and or go to a therapist to understand and unpack, why am I this way? And you realize it all ties back to our childhood because we were just taught differently than the current climate of the world. So a lot of our relationships we've struggled with and didn't work out as we probably wanted them to is directly related to that. And so now we have to raise our sons, those of us who have sons, a little bit differently. That it's okay to express your emotions, that it's okay to feel emotion, and you don't have to absorb the weight of the world on you like we were taught, to just take care of everything, take care of the household, don't ask no questions. And the problem with some men, and I have a group of college friends that I've been cool with since I was 18, 19 years old, and we're still cool to this day. We're not quite as close, but we still get together. But the thing is, a lot of us men are not comfortable talking with men about if we're having some financial struggles or we're having issues with the wife or the spouse or whatever. And we got to break that barrier, to make sure that it's okay to have these conversations as men, and that's just the reality of what it is.
RJ, thank you for saying that. I think that's like, and you guys know a good majority of my friends is guys. So I do talk to you guys. And one of the questions I had was, before I joined this group, hanging out with y'all, did y'all talk about whose penis is not working and why their wife is cheating on them? Is anybody talking about that? Or are we just going to play like this ain't happening? And so when I said that, everybody laughed. It was like, you're right. We didn't talk about that. I said, ED is real. This dude comes here every single time we hang out with his face upside down, and he always talking, negative about his wife. Is anybody asking him why? See, the why was he was having a problem sexually. And it took me bringing it out. And guess what he did? He followed me to the car. He was like, Chris, can I talk to you for a minute? I was like, why do I always have to be the person? So my thing is, you're right, RJ. Why don't you guys Who talks real talk with their friends? I just want to know who does.
I mean, I do now. I didn't in the past.
All right, Matt, you do. Doc, you talk real talk with your friends?
So some of them, it's interesting. Like you have, your core group of friends, and then you have that larger group, and then you have then you have the rest, right? So the core group of friends, there are times when and it's a core group. We call the core. It's 4 of us. We get on the phone and say, "Hey, man, look, shit is crazy at home. I need a moment. Like, where you at? Where you at?"
Yeah.
And you know what? And and these guys are like, you call a lifeline in, because you don't even need to tell them your business, that the code is
right.
You don't have to get in your business. You just say, "Dude, I need a moment." And and of the 4, the 3 of them, "Hey, I'm available. Where you want to meet, wherever you are, let me know. I'll come to you." And that's the code. They drive, they get to you. You just chill. Even if it's to sit and have a drink, just to sit and just say nothing, just to be supportive in that moment. And we've done that. I mean, sometimes we've shared what's happening, but there are a lot of times that we just show up and, "Yo, man, shit is real. Give me a double."
Does it make you feel better?
Give me another double. And you put 2 doubles back. And all right.
After you share, does that make you feel better? Even if you don't talk, just being around them makes you feel better?
Yeah, because someone is receiving that. You feel like someone is receiving and understanding that energy, right? Okay. It's the energy. So you have that bottled up, built up, right? And what drives mental health is there's no outlet for that.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And because there's a lack of this outlet, right? People bottle it up, and then before you know it, they have a breakdown because it becomes too much. The weight becomes overwhelming, right? And so for us, even if it's to sit there, that's an outlet. Even if I'm not telling you, just me coming and getting a couple doubles, and oh man, it's crazy. And because we understand that whether it's a relationship, whether it's work or children or whatever. We all understand that something ain't right, and I got to be there for my dude right now.
So let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys know over 42% of Black men suffer from anxiety or depression? Unless
I would have thought the number would be higher.
Yep, I thought it would be higher as well.
No, so you are correct. The number probably should be higher, but some of y'all taking the survey didn't tell the truth. That's what happened.
And that's probably
but you know what? No, it's not that they didn't tell the truth. You got to know the definition of the words.
That's true as well.
A lot of us be like, this is normal. Our normal is not other people's normal.
Ooh, very true.
So earlier, you talked about Chad and Karen, but when you're a Black male, it's not just Chad and Karen. It's Leroy, Lakeisha, Juan, Maria. It's so many people that have different perspectives, but the system looks at us a certain way. And so that's your normal. You live in a quadrant.
Because we got to also have the conversation that our own people give us anxiety as well, right? Because we are our own worst enemies when it comes to jealousy and envy and hatred, right? We don't want to see
better not get me started on this.
Doing as well as me, right? You know what I'm saying? So we deal with such a multitude of things as Black men. No,
right.
It's incomparable to any other species walking.
I agree.
Which is why I have a cadre of female friends over the years, one of which Christine. I find females sometimes, depending upon the situation, are easy to talk to. I mean, these are friends I've had for 20, 30 years. And because with guys, sometimes, depending upon what you do in your life, a lot of my friends, male friends, we have our ups and downs. But the females tend to be a little more consistent, So I have about 2 female friends that I confide in about certain things that I find easier to talk to than some of my male friends.
I want to add one point to what you're saying, Ish. I agree. I have 3 female best friends. You want to know why opposite sex friends work? Because there's no competition, right?
Yeah.
So with between men and men, it's always some undercurrent of competition there somewhere. Women and women as well, right? When you have opposite sex friends, there's really no competition. So those relationships flourish and are more consistent.
RJ, I was going to piggyback on that. You're exactly right. Because what happens is we feel like we have to challenge each other. You even see it walking around. When you see another brother, you look each other up and down, as opposed to saying, "Hey, brother, how you doing?"
Exactly.
We did that back in the day. But now you're always, looking at each other and just kind of checking each other out. Like, wait a second, I'm either going to fight you or just say, "Hey, how are you?"
Right.
Between your own brother. And that's that's sad that it's that way. It really is that way. As opposed to a group of brothers like here now. We chit chat before for the podcast. That's how it should be. But Christine, you talked about the ED thing earlier.
Yeah.
Trust me, as a grown man, 60, you're just not gonna talk to.
Okay, that's what I want to know. What are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about in these circles?
Can't give you all the sauce.
That's not gonna talk to your boys about.
RJ, I get all the sauce. I'm in these circles.
Yeah, I talked to a female about that before I talked to male.
Right, you're not gonna talk to your right because again, you said the challenge thing. You're not gonna talk to your boys about something like that immediately. It's just not gonna happen.
So
you're gonna hear about it.
So wait a minute. So let me ask Ray. So Warwick, in your space, you're a comedian. Do you make fun of your friends when they being real with you? What you doing?
I mean, we like you said, we don't too much talk about that, But a woman's born with when she's born with the certain amount of eggs that she's gonna have the rest of her life. Guys, I feel like guys are born with a certain number of fucks. That means you probably have 500, he probably has 6, he probably have 300, he probably have 50. And you run out of them. You know what I'm saying? You run out of fucks. So a lot of people should be,
One more fucks to get.
Oh, I never heard that one, but I love it.
Oh my gosh. Warwick, are you trying to say that basically ED is basically a man has run out of all his numbers?
You don't run out of them.
That's it.
Right
He just
out.
ran out of his numbers.
You've exceeded your capacities.
You exceeded it.
Okay, you know what?
Oh, that's funny.
All right, so let me ask you guys the next question. When you experience loss, divorce, or some traumatic moment, do you reach out to your circle of guy friends, or do you try to manage it yourself? Do you reach out to your spouse? Go ahead, Ish.
Like over the last few years, I've suffered a lot of loss of major members of my family, key members, male uncles, aunts. I lost like one uncle, 3 or 4 aunts in the last 3 or 4 years. Not to mention my dad who died 6 years ago. So people get tired of hearing your story after a while. They don't want to. There's only so many times you can go to the well. So what I had to do was find a therapist to kind of work out my anguish and my anger and my frustrations, because I feel like my family is kind of depleted. Like, I don't go to this person's house for Thanksgiving anymore, so, Big Mama's house, so to speak, things have changed. So I have had difficulty reacclimating myself to the new reality of what is my family. So because I can't really rely on friends, because I don't want to kind of keep droning on about my problems, I've sought the help of a therapist to deal with those issues. I missed my session this week, though.
That's a great point, Ish, because I used to not be able to say that, that I did get mental health. Before, that's almost made it seem like you were weak, if you did that, and that's why a lot of times. But now I don't have a problem with that. If I break my arm, I go to the doctor, and get that fixed and get checked out. Well, right now I have some mental things going on. I have some challenges, 2022, I needed some assistance, and that's okay. It's okay to say that.
You know what?
Absolutely.
I just want to say, I'm always sending all of you guys a virtual hug, because I can call any of you and say anything. And I like that I get your support. Warwick, I'm never calling you, so we're clear. Because you're going to say something, I'm going to have to hem you up and punch you in the throat. Takara says, who's married? Okay, so Matt's married, Dr. Campbell's married, and Ish is married, and Gerald is about to be married. RJ is in a committed relationship, and right now, Warwick is always in between women. Takara is Real Talk with the Ladies. She's also a comedian, Warwick, just to let you know, and she travels all over the country, and she's out in California.
Love connection there, Christine.
I'm just tossing it out there. And Reggie, what's going up, DSU? He says, after a while, it becomes the old saying. I hate to even know what Reggie's going to say now. No need to complain, because no one wants to hear it. You know what? Interesting. And then Takara said, oh, damn. Well, damn. Takara, just to let you know, Tim, who is single, is not on tonight. He will be back next week. He's out sick right now.
Drink, something else coming.
All right, so guys, you know what? And we're going to go to a quick commercial break, but I just want to say to you, mental health is so important, and I wouldn't be the person I am today if I didn't go through it. A lot of people, they look at you in this moment and they don't realize all the trauma you've gone through. So nobody would have known, like the first portion of my childhood, I was beaten to a pulp every single day for no reason. Just beaten just because I said hello. And that was my biological father. No one knew that ICE was just not an option for me. because the ice trays, if they were empty, I got the crap beat out of me. And it wasn't until I was in my 30s, late 30s, redoing the kitchen that my son says, Mom, can we get a refrigerator with an ice maker? All my friends have them. Can we get one? I had to cry in that moment because I thought all of that money I spent on therapy, I dealt with my stuff. But guess what? It was that one little stupid thing about freaking ice. And it was so silly. But guess what? I got this amazing refrigerator that talks to me now that does make ice. I just have to tell it to just make the ice. But the point is that I allowed something from that point to really get into my world. I was a parent. And that's what I'm saying. So folks, don't ever be ashamed. It's hard to be Black in America. It's hard to be you sometimes in some spaces. And I always tell people I'm very peaceful now because I spent a lot of money to get to this peace. And I love myself and I think I'm a rock star, but that doesn't mean everybody around me is going to feel that way. So folks, we're going to be back after this commercial break. And the point I always make to people, you see me right now, you may think my life is perfect, but honey, trust me, it took a lot to get here. But that couture does make it look cute though. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
I need it all. Do you want it though?
Where do I begin? I see the hate, they don't wanna see me win. Bank deposits, I got more coming in. Top down, throw the money in the wind. I don't want it all. Heard he scammer, had to switch up the accounts. Moving paper, gotta call it my account. It's all in, I can have it coming out. Been through the struggle, I can see another drought.
Yeah, it's not a purse, it's a merch. 6 figures was a goal, now it's 9 or a hearse. Put it work. Used to pull up, not swerve. No time for the snakes, time to put them in the dirt. That's word. I gotta get it, it's in my DNA. You only see the highlights, don't know what it takes. Last year stressing, got no sleep. Now I'm right between the courts, I don't know bleed.
I see the hate, they don't wanna see me win. Bank deposits, I got more coming in. Top down, throw the money in the wind. I don't want it all. Heard he scammer, had to switch up the accounts. Moving paper, gotta call it my account. It's all in, I can have it coming out. Been through the struggle, I can see another drought.
Yeah, same circle, still the same gang. We just get to it, we don't gang bang. Lost some friends to the same thing. Keep a low pro when we mad.
Hey guys, welcome back to the 5F's to Love Network. Tonight we have Real Talk with Men. We're talking about healing and self-love. In about 30 minutes after this podcast, you'll be able to listen to this podcast on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. So be sure to tune in now or later and listen to us wherever you are. So guys, listen, I'm so glad we're having this conversation because I think a lot of times we get into relationships. Now, I'm just going to speak from a woman's perspective. Nobody even knew I had a trigger, right? But the trigger wasn't self-inflicted. I was in high school. This guy asked me a question while he was taking me home. And I answered the question incorrectly. He slammed the car into the side of the expressway. My legs were trapped in the car. And basically, I was just like in this car. Trapped 1 mile from my home. I was one exit from my home off this expressway. Now, what that taught me was when you think about the life I had before that moment, which was abusive, my mother got remarried to this amazing man. He showed me love. So I was going through that whole repair. But then this happens while I'm a junior in high school. So what did I learn from that? Never answer any questions in a car if a man asks you a question. Now to this day, I never answer questions. Because I'm afraid that my response is going to then get me slammed into an expressway wall or something. So I know that sounds insane, but that's what happens. But no one knows that because they see Christine and they think she's so dynamic and they don't know that I have triggers. So if you're in the car talking to me, you may be saying, do you love me? And I'm like, Listen, can we almost at our stop. I'm gonna answer that question as soon as we get to that. You know, we almost at the restaurant. Why I'm feeling pressure right now? And then you're thinking, why are you bullshitting me? Just answer the question because I'm afraid. If I answer it wrong, something's gonna happen. And I say that to you guys because I think a lot of times men get into relationships and they're carrying all of this stuff, right? And you guys don't talk about it. So I need to know right now. What is one thing for sure that you know you still have not dealt with, that if a woman says it, does it, wears it, looks like it, you like, this is total BS and I'm out? What's one thing right now? Everybody's got their one thing.
I gotta think.
Yeah. So
Gerald, I know what yours is, so you might as well tell it.
You tell me.
Well, let me take a stab at this one. Something Chris Rock said on one of his shows. He said that the man's the only person who's not loved unconditionally.
Yeah. Oh man, I just said
besides your mother.
Speak on it.
Everybody wants something from you to substantiate or to justify their love, whether it's your wife, your girlfriend, your kids. Only your mother's gonna love you unconditionally, and that's a hard pill to swallow. You know.
So
that is.
So to add on to that, what Chris Rock said, which is very factual. I just said this last night in a group setting, that only women, children, and pets are loved unconditionally.
Yeah.
Men are only loved under the condition that we provide or do something.
RJ, did you say women are loved unconditionally?
Absolutely.
1,000.
That is total BS.
Oh, that's not.
By the kids gonna love their mother before they love their father.
1,000.
Dude, let me tell you something.
This is why on Mother's Day you can't get into restaurants, but on Father's Day you can just walk right in and sit down.
Right. You damn right.
All the cards at the store are gone.
Good answer, RJ.
That's RJ. Now that's valid, but it's also invalid. Let me tell you something.
There's no invalidity to it. It's 1,000%.
No, but a mother's job is to love everybody unconditionally, even their spouse.
But you didn't hear the statement.
No, I heard the statement.
Men
but
are
let me tell you why.
only loved under the condition that we provide or do something.
When you stop,
okay, but no, let me tell you something. That is, I think, and you're right. From a male's perspective, maybe you do feel your love based on what you can provide.
But Christine, look at the data. Like the facts.
What?
Talk to her, Matt.
80% of the divorces are initiated by women.
By women, that's correct.
So if men are loved unconditionally, then why would women be initiating the divorce?
That's correct.
There are problems in all the relationships, but men, it should be 50-50, but it's not. So the data supports what the fellas are saying.
Okay, but let's go back to my original question.
But Christine, this is the other thing too. The biggest challenge about being a black man is that when you share your truth, everyone immedately rejects it. Yep. Even you as our host.
Oh, that's heavy.
You are
heavy.
This thing of women are loved unconditionally.
Hold up.
Look
closer, for
like the White Lives Matter. It's like the White Lives Matter on this part.
You in a group with a dog?
No, you're missing the point, Christine. You're missing.
You darn right I missed it.
So what Matt just said, you're rejecting our truth, which is what women do.
I am not rejecting your truth. I'm rejecting Chris Rock's truth.
There's 6
That
men.
wasn't your truth.
Chris, there's 6 men sitting on here telling you that exact thing.
And I'm telling you all, as a woman,
you're disputing
we don't feel that we're loved unconditionally.
You're rejecting.
Let me tell you something. What you guys don't feel. I'm not that type of woman. There are women getting asses, breasts, waist cinched, eyelashes. They don't feel that they're loved unconditionally. They feel that they're loved if they look a certain way.
They don't do that for men. They're not doing that for
Instagram. They're doing that because of Instagram.
They're not doing that for men. They're not doing that for men. They're doing that for other women.
They're doing that.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
They're doing that to get ahead in some
capacity. Okay, I'm going to tell you that's a yes and a no. But if y'all stop talking about that Beyonce body, less women will be stop trying to get the Beyonce body. I don't give a crap. I'm Christine, and I think I'm a rock star. All of this magic.
Everybody that knows you knows.
Don't worry about that. Other women don't do that.
Christine, you're focusing on relationship love. I'm talking about love in general. You know, like our kids love us, but we stop providing for our kids. That love is gonna.
I mean, I agree, but there's also some moms that lose that love too. I know moms right now that don't have it, and they've given their kids everything they could. I know dads who have given their children everything they could, and the kid is just like, screw you. So I'm saying it goes both ways. But the real question I asked you was, What is one thing that's a trigger for you guys in a pet peeve? Don't try to get around my question. RJ, who started with the Chris Rock interlude, that had nothing to do with this. Let's go, RJ. What's your pet peeve?
One of my non-negotiables is when you're dealing with a woman in a serious relationship with that woman, married, girlfriend, or whatever, and that woman still feels the need to communicate with exes. That's a deal breaker. That's non-negotiable. There's nothing y'all need to talk about, socialize about, text about, DM about, nothing. Right? That is a non-negotiable. I'm not backing off of it. If you still feel the need, you got to still call and text your ex-boo or ex-fuck buddy and whatever, then miss me with that shit. So
a cracked door is an open door.
1000%. Say it one more time,
Wow.
Joe. And for the people in the cheap seats.
Yep, cracked door is an open door. Simple as that. And that's my pet peeve. And you already knew that, Chris. Multiple friends, multiple guys.
I said I knew yours, but I didn't shout yours out.
Multiple guy friends. And
Okay,
all that.
so you guys understand the reason why I know, because I've known Gerald since college. So Gerald knows me for real because he's known me.
Me and Gerald got to have a few conversations off camera.
No, you're not.
Oh,
Gerald
yes,
is off limits to all of y'all.
No, he's not. You're part of the squad now, baby. You made him a
Gerald
special
is
guest.
off limits. All of y'all. Okay, so Dr. Campbell, what's your thing?
I have to think about this one long and hard. It's not a question that I normally would think about, but now you're forcing me to think about this, which is good. I think we all have triggers. I don't know if I have a lot of triggers, but I'm just thinking with my wife and myself, that's my only, that's the only person who can trigger me. Because for someone to trigger me, then I have to care about them.
Correct.
If I don't give a about you, I don't give a damn what you say to me. I swear, I don't give a damn. It will just roll off me like water off a duck's back, and I don't care. But the
So
people
what can
who I
she
love,
do that's gonna flick that bit that you're like, really? Did she just do that?
the things that she will do, I would say that triggers. Like, for example, I'm a planner, right? I plan things out ahead. Like, when everyone is like here, I'm like 10 steps ahead in my planning, right? She will like to go over and go back to step one and I'm like, you're killing me. Yeah, like, don't you know I put effort into putting us ahead already, but now you're taking us back with this, and I call it the basic thought process. We have to stop it. We have to elevate, beyond the basics thought process and move ahead. And every time, in conversations or things that we're planning, I'm like, figure it out. Yeah, because eventually you'll realize that you will spend 5 days to get back to where we are now, but we just lost 5 days. How many times are we going to lose time? Right. So that's one of my.
Yours is like, and respect the fact that the plan is done and let's move forward.
It's done.
Right,
so process. If you're doing something and I say, okay, babe, execute, I'm going to trust you to execute because I know that, you know what, you're going to figure it out. So if I'm doing so, don't be peeking over, wondering, dropping your hint or two here. I appreciate it, but you know what? Allow me to execute this. Let me do this, and then watch me work. Watch me work.
I'm not asking you. I'm skipping you because you're gonna say something. I'm gonna save you for last. Okay, Matt, what's yours? And by the way, I love Crystal, so you better not say nothing mean.
Yeah. So I'm like some of these other fellas. You already know what my pet peeve is. And it's very clear. I believe in roles. I believe that relationships have rules. And so for me, if the rules for me are priest, provider, protector, then the rules for her are, cooking, cleaning, caretaking. So if those rules are there, if I ask you to do something and it's not illegal, immoral, unethical, and you don't do it, then that is a deal breaker for me and I look at my roles. If you say you need money, I will provide. If a pit bull comes running across the street, which actually literally happened, I will step in front of you. So if I'm doing these things, I absolutely, unequivocally demand that the roles be followed so that we can function as a family. So that's for me is how it works.
Like it.
I like that.
Okay, Warren.
I like it.
I agree.
Warren.
For me, it's just respect. I don't like disrespect. You gotta respect. That's just for me. Respectful. And like an apology. I don't like a woman who apologizes a lot. That means if you say something, oh, I didn't mean to say that. Oh, I didn't mean to do this. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, you mean it. So apologies and respect is two big things for me. Respect me. Treat me like I treat you.
That's a really good example. Okay, so the question I'm having you guys is, how do you guys release stress and anxiety? Gerald, I already know. I know your real answer, but I don't know your real answer.
Oh,
I know you work out every day. I know Dr. Campbell works out every day. That's the real answer, but what's the real answer? That's the real
it's understood as a need to be explained.
All right, so let me. Number one, is sex a stress releaser? Like for all of you guys, sex? Yes or no?
1,000.
Yeah, that's big.
Yes and no.
It's a part of it. I think it's a part. And, there's multiple ways for us to release. I think sex is one. It's not necessarily a big one for me. For me, is time to contemplate and time to just and my contemplation is me getting my jump rope or getting the treadmill and just lock in, because in that moment I'm reflecting, I'm thinking, I'm coming to terms of the things that are causing turmoil in me. So that's my way. I think we all probably have our different ways, and it's a matter of finding your way and then tuning that so it works for you.
All right, Ish, what about you? What do you do? Ish.
Oh, honestly, I'm still working on that. I haven't found a really good way to work it out. Other than driving around blasting my music.
Okay.
I don't have a working model to work out my stress and my anxiety.
Okay, that's fair. What about you, RJ? What do you have?
So sex is one of mine, but also working out and singing. I'm heavy in the music, and that's all therapeutic for me. Self-time, self-reflection.
I like that. Warwick?
For me, it's also sex, and plus being on stage. That's my platform right there for me to relieve all my stress and just hear the laughter from me making other people laugh. That's my stress reliever right there. Just telling jokes.
I like that. Happy. Matt, what's yours?
Yeah, for me, it is exercise and travel. Moments of time. I don't get a lot of them, but moments of time by myself. So I actually like driving. So that's why I don't fly, because it gives me time to, as Ish said, blast my music and get into my space. So that's what I do. I would also say one other thing, measuring stress is really important. So since this is a show about mental health, you need to have a therapist on call available. Go to 5Fs to Love on the website. There's links to, or should be links to therapists. If we don't have those, we need to add those. And then our blood pressure tells us volumes about what's going on in our lives. And there's a reason that our blood pressures are so high. So if we want a metric, no matter how much exercise or travel or whatever it is that we do, that blood pressure is an indicator.
It is. It's a clear indicator. Gerald, what's yours?
Music is one of the first ones, but I find that actually my woman having my back. I love my bald head to be rubbed. I love to have that massage. Just that moment, her paying attention to me and knowing that I'm having that day, that I'm going through that anxiety and I'm being stressed. That back rub, that shoulder massage. That does relieve me. But just knowing that she has my back like that and she recognizes that I don't need to say one thing, that she really realizes that, something's different about Gerald. I had this 90-10 rule, 90% I'm on point, but 10%, I'm way out there, and she recognizes that I'm in that 10%, and she does those little things for me, those little things, again, like I said, rub this little bald head for me, massage my shoulders and, massage my back or whatever. I got a bunch of massagers here, in the bedroom, she knows that and understands that. So that's really my reliever.
Okay, so folks, you heard it from the guys, what they need for stress release. I just work in my garden. I read a lot of books. So that's what happens. But y'all know number one.
To it?
No, but RJ, y'all already know. I always tell you on the second day, first date, I'm talking about sex. You already know that's on my list. That's number one. Okay? We already know. Why do we have to keep putting it out, RJ? I'm a man in a dress. Get over it. We'll be right back after these words. guys, we appreciate you watching us here at the 5Fs to Love Network. We would love to hear from you, and we would really appreciate if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. Why? Because we need to know that you know when we're going live. So guys, this has been like a really great conversation, and I really appreciate you guys being very transparent, to some extent sharing your information. But in this last segment, we really want to key in on something that I think is desperately needed. And that's, how we manage life and relationships, right? So when you're in a relationship and you know that there's some negative triggers, right? This is while you're married, before you get married, one person knows how to really flick your Vic, really. And they don't even have to put a hand on you. It's the person that you say you love. You do realize that, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the outside people, they just get you on an exterior kind of trigger. But how do you manage it when the person that you love dearly is pushing your buttons and you're trying to manage it in a way that doesn't come out aggressive? Like, how do you handle that as a man?
So for me, this is something I learned from my therapist, and it makes so much sense. He said, triggers are your problem. They're not the other person's problem, right? So triggers are things within you that you control, right? So if you're allowing someone to trigger you, why is that trigger happening? So you have to search within yourself to say, okay, how do I self-heal or self-repair this particular aspect of my being so that I'm no longer triggered by that? Because the thing about it is, it's truthful. The people we're in relationships with have known for a long time, that love and care for us, know the things that irritate us, and they can poke and push those buttons. But the way you ascend and overcome it is understanding and recognizing and then overcoming those said triggers, because the triggers are within you. So once you overcome the ability to allow someone to trigger you, then that's when you've won. And when he broke that down to me, I was like, wow, that was one of those aha moments. And it's actual and factual. If you really kind of dive into it and think about it, the triggers are our personal things that we allow ourselves to react to. Like I tell you, who's in control of you? You are. So we're in control of our own selves, our own emotions, our own reactions. Once we get control over those things, then the triggers will go away.
Folks, you heard it first. I mean, look at me in a freaking ice maker. That's all I got to say. Now, next question is, do you think your past, when not being dealt with, has a negative impact on your future relationships?
Yeah, Christine, I want to go back to your ice example. And I think Warwick said it earlier, respect. Mm-hmm. So if I know that you have an ice trigger, no matter how much healing and that you've done, if I'm your man, then I need to recognize and respect that as a trigger. And though you might be healed, if I push those buttons, then you need to reevaluate your relationship with me, because if somebody loves you, they don't trigger you if they know that is a trigger. And so the first step, I think, is sharing what are your triggers so that people can, I'm not going to say walk on eggshells around you, but at least be aware that is a trigger. And if you love someone, you don't press their triggers.
And any guy that's watching, you can ask me for ice. I'm good now. But, I'm just saying.
I'm not asking no questions while I ride with you. I can tell you that.
Don't just, I'll get some ice for you now. But there was a time that ice situation could have went real south. But I still don't answer questions in cars. So we clear. I don't answer questions in moving vehicles. So we clear. So let me ask you guys, when you don't deal with these things that impacted your life as a child, a teenager, previous relationships, do you think that could have a negative impact on your future relationships? Maybe with your children, your wife, your girlfriend, family?
It's not even a matter of if we think, that's one thing, but it's a fact. It does. And I think, it's something that we kind of need to begin to realize and accept more, that some of the challenges that we're facing or dealing with, or struggles that we're having, might not be related to present, but way distant past. Sometimes things that we might not even be fully aware of. I've been exposed to some great hypnotherapists, not for myself, but seeing them in action and seeing them uncover some really, really, really dark things in certain people's, in the depths of their mind that they themselves has hidden because of how traumatizing those things were. But they didn't know how to even get there themselves, and it was causing tremendous trouble in work, at home with their kids. And so, they had to dial back. Oh my goodness, did that really cut? Yes. And so they were able to link it. My point of this is, we kind of need to be more open to things like therapy and hypnotherapy and, hey, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
How can we get to the point where we can begin to tell each other or tell people around us that help is needed? Because until we get to the point where we realize and recognize that something is wrong and that we're open to receiving the help, then we're going to continue the carnage that is happening.
Absolutely.
And not feel judged when you tell somebody that you're getting help, right? People begin to judge you and say, well, what's wrong with you? And I tell people all the time, I'll go back to a therapist in a second if I feel I need a tuning up.
That's huge, what you just said, Chris. You don't want to be judged by it. So you're absolutely right. And it's funny, we were talking about, what my hot button was, and my hot button came from my childhood. So it's funny you're saying that because, in my first dating experience, the young lady had a bunch of guy friends and whatever, and again, cracked door's an open door. So guess who they end up cheating with? Someone that they would, stayed in touch with.
Absolutely.
So that's something that stayed with me, all the time. And it's taken me to, even to my adult life. So,
and it does, it impacts you long term. So let me ask you guys the question before we go, because, I think sometimes Black men don't want to feel vulnerable. Do you think that communicating your insecurities when you share them makes you vulnerable?
You have to share them to the right person. You don't want them.
Yes.
You don't want them. You don't want those to be thrown back in your face.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, if I had a past in my past, you share, intimate things and special things that happened to you. You get into a big argument. Next thing you know, bam, you get slammed with it.
It's a dagger thrown at you. And it's an
You got to
unfortunate.
find a safe space. Somebody you feel safe to share with that information.
Yeah.
Okay, but Ish, you said a big thing. I think a lot of times when you get in relationships with people before you get married, the women think that they're making you feel safe, where you can actually just say some things. But then to Gerald's point, you feel indifferent when they're tossed back at you in a disagreement.
That's right.
Right.
And that's what that's I think that's just most relationships, right? Because especially relationships that you've been with someone for so long, a lot of things about each other. If you get into a heated argument or disagreement, your defense mechanism is to throw that dagger of an insecurity they have or a failure they've had or something they do correctly. And it's not right. It's not okay. But if we really, really want to unpack it and think about it, we've probably all done it in some capacity throughout our lives, right? But women do it a lot more than men. And it's unfortunate, but it's just the reality of what it is, because us as men, we're not emotional creatures by nature. We're more physical. You as women are more emotional creatures, less than physical. So you hold on to those things, and your defense mechanism is to throw those darts at us, or your shortcoming in this thing, or you didn't do this right, or remember when you did this, you know what I mean? And it's unfortunate that we have to deal with that, but you have to be very careful. So as men, we're very cautious to expose ourselves to be vulnerable, right? Because childhood, we were not raised to ever be vulnerable. We were not raised to be insecure, right? So this all kind of ties back into how we were brought up. Go ahead, Ish.
And also, we have to be careful as men who we express this information to, especially the women in our lives, and your girlfriend or wife, whatever, because certain things can backfire. I don't think all female relationships are on par with I don't think all women can take a man's vulnerability and insecurities. It can kind of detract from the attraction level. So you have to be careful how you share what you share, because it can backfire on you. That's why having friends outside of your relationship, therapists, you can't share everything with your partner, because it could have a detrimental effect in the end
on that relationship.
It's interesting because we talk about this, but isn't your partner supposed to be your best friend? Isn't your partner supposed to be the one that if the world is on fire, that's the person that you run to, right? Because that's going to be your safe haven. when the world is against you and your back is up against the wall. It should no. I mean, and I'm not disagreeing with you, Ish, because that's the reality, and that is the conundrum that we as men are in. Because if we are afraid, or if we are hesitant to even confide in the one who we share our beds with, then who do we turn to? Who can we turn to? Hence, we're going to have these issues. The question is, how do we evolve beyond this? Is there strength in vulnerability? Can there be strength in vulnerability?
I would tell you that I think it depends on each and individual relationship. But the wives also have triggers. And some of their triggers, let's take, for example, if their trigger is lack. If you say, hey, I'm about to lose my job, you've now hit a trigger that is going to get a response. And in your sharing vulnerability with parents, the trigger might be their child will not get a degree. So their child calls the parent and says, hey, I didn't get the job interview. They're going to get a reaction. So I think to your point, we should be able to, but I think there is resources. 5Fs to Love has resources. Zinger app has resources. I think you need a therapist, an outside third party. Look, when you get sick, I go see you. If I got sick, I would go see you. I wouldn't go see my wife, even though she's a pharmacist. I'm going to go to an expert in the illness at hand. And I think as Black people, we need to go to experts and give them credit for their expertise to help us, and not always go to the pastor or to a family member who's just, quite frankly, not qualified. And in many cases, our wives are not qualified to help us.
I agree.
But you know what, Matt? You're right. You're absolutely right. Like seeking an expert is absolutely correct, right? Experts in whatever areas, whatever fields that you're struggling. But the point is, as men, we have to recognize that something is off, right? It starts with a point of recognition. And to me, that starts with personal honesty and honesty with the person who I share with, right? If I can't be, hey, hun, you know what? It's an issue. Like, let's go figure this out. Like, why I can't get it up anymore. Let's go together. Let's go figure this out. I mean, but this is a us issue. It can't be, hey, let me just sleep on the other side of the bed, or hey, let me just stay away and avoid the issue because I don't want to deal with the fact that I'm having issues that eventually mount into something that is crazy. Let us share this, and then let us go seek expert help together, trying to keep this unit together. You know, so I understand there's a balance there, and there has to be a balance, but both on the male and female end, we have to begin to come in the middle and figure this out. Otherwise, the problem will continue.
Sure.
Dr. Campbell, you hit the nail on the head, and that is both for men and women. We've got to be open to not being so judgmental. When you're going through the beginning stages of a relationship, through to end, when you say I do, it's a big deal. And so the only thing I'm gonna leave you guys with is this, is that there's one person, and I'm not gonna get emotional because this person knows I absolutely love them. It don't make a difference who they're with. It does. And the only reason why I say this is because this person, when you're 20 years old and you have to tell somebody you can't have children, and this person says to you, I love you no matter what, I'm good with that. That meant the world to me, because that was the first person who didn't walk out on me and make me feel like I was nothing, because I was a Black woman who couldn't have children.
He accepted you for who you were.
He accepted me for who I was. And to this day, I love this man no matter what. He allowed me to be a part of his life. And people don't understand how that helped me, because every man after that, I was able to just brush it off and say, well, you know what? You don't check them boxes like he did. He allowed me to be vulnerable, and he supported me through that process. Now, years later, I had this kid. The first thing they said was, that's your kid? Like, we was doing it every day. I didn't get a kid out of that. And it was so funny because they actually had to come look at me and the kid just to be like, is this really your kid?
Sure.
But I will say this to you guys. That person knows who they are. They know to the end, I'm ride or die to the end. that no matter what, I got his back, his wife's back, his family's back, because that's family to me. That man knows I love him unconditionally, no matter what happens. And so I will say this to you folks out here. It's tough out here. All of us, you see us looking a certain way, dressed a certain way. Social media screws up everything and makes it look like everybody's got a great life. But all of us have a history. And there's this thing called real me inside of here. And sometimes I need to just be me, but I don't need you to judge me on that. I need you just to accept me where I am and just hold my hand. Matt puts up with a lot of my shit. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Matt does, because when my day don't be right, I'll be like, Matt, I don't give a care if you doing something. I'll be texting Matt, I need you right now, just some legitimate stuff, because I need to talk. But what I'm saying is I love that I can pick up the phone and y'all gonna be real with me. So all I gotta say, folks, if you don't have a real squad, maybe male or female, if say he got a little group of females that he talked to, okay. You know, Dr. Campbell say he got his boys, they get a couple drinks. RJ say he rolled with his crew, female and male. Warwick say he hit the road and tell jokes, okay, but he hang out with his boys though. He do kind of hit it. Gerald, what are you doing over there? Who you hanging with? What you doing?
Oh, I told you.
Huh?
Go ahead. What'd you say?
I said, other than the amazing Donna, your fiance.
It's back to working out, you know, even though I've done it for 40 years down there, you know, working out and training. That's why I put a gym here in the house, so I can go down there and just kind of, you know, get my workout in or take a walk in the neighborhood, you know, enjoy God's scene, go outside and take a walk, you know, just enjoy nature, you know.
Okay, Matt, what about you? What is your recommendation? What are you going to tell people to do? Because we about to close this out. What you about to tell the people to do to get it together? We're talking to black men.
Get help. That'll be my advice. Get help. 5F app. Get help.
I just want to say,
we got to create that. GetHelp.com coming soon.
I can't stand that, because Matt knows that we're getting ready to add that to 5Fs to Love. So that's his way of poking the bear, which is me. Like, Chris, get your shit together and get this up. I can't stand it.
You got to stay on the mat. You be moving 2,000
I'm
miles
calling Crystal. Crystal gonna have to crack the whip on you to stop cracking the whip on me. So, Matt, you guys are all saying as black men, get the help to change. Just to let you guys know, it's only 4% of psychiatrists out there and psychologists that are African-American men. So I know black men really just want to talk to black men, but if you can't find one in the state that you live in, see if there's somebody you can talk to online, virtually. But find somebody, because it's important. And by the way, my list of clients has increased considerably. I just want to say I like it. I'm not a professional in that sense, but I guess I am. One of my degrees is in psychology. But I just talk to people and I try to be as supportive as possible. And I think that's important. I love you guys. You guys are rock stars. As I always say, thank you so much for being part of the 5Fs to Love brand. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. That conversation next week is going to be pretty hot. So be sure to like our podcast on YouTube and be sure to watch us. Let me make sure I'm getting everybody in before we leave. Oh, Gertrude, you finally said something. She said, get help. It's right and truthful. I love Gertrude is our #1 watcher. She's been on with us since day one. We love Gertrude. Okay, guys. So thanks a lot. Doc, enjoy your time in Jamaica with your family.
Enjoy Jamaica, Doc.
Thank you.
You don't know.
You don't know. You don't know.
Doc, you make sure you tell your wife and your next time I'm coming, because I need a Stella got her groove back moment.
All right, no, let's do this.
You don't need to add any more men to the repertoire.
Oh my God!
RJ, that's all.
RJ, I love it.
I can't stand you, RJ. I'll see you guys next week, and be sure to follow, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 5Fs to Love.